So first, your memory I'll jog and say, a cat is not a dog. Welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. We are, of course, covering 2019's Cats. My name is Jericho Reed. With me, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello, hello.
And we are also honoured to be joined by a very special guest this week. Welcome to the show, Jade Nicholas.
Thanks very much.
So your role here is twofold, because not only are you an animal behaviorist, but you also starred in a production of Cats.
I think you should say, though, it was an amateur production before anyone gets excited. But
doesn't say that. Don't need it. Doesn't.
Okay.
Fresh from the West
production...
End.
Oh God.
So you played Grisabella. Is that the right
did.
name?
Yeah, so I went to school for musical theatre, so I'm not completely unaware of what's going on here. But yeah, I did this before I trained. So I did it when I was 17 or so, I think. Yeah. So yeah, so I played the role that Jennifer Hudson plays in the film.
Best one. I mean, we'll cover it later, but you were the
I mean, you get to sing for like 5 minutes and then spend the rest of the time off stage doing nothing. And then you get like the final bow and everything. So, I mean, for a lot of people, that's the best... It's the best outcome.
Okay, so let's cover our usual things. Kyle, what was your experience with Cats, the motion picture?
I know the Andrew Lloyd Webber stage show, and I'm aware of that. I'm not a fan. I think I've seen it as a child, but I don't know it. But I know of it. I know of the reshoots. I know of the cat butthole malarkey that was going on with the redoing things.
I do not know about this, so I can't wait to find out.
and I knew it was hated and it was a flop, and that's about it. I knew the cast as well who was in it, but I don't really know much about it. So this was kind of blind, other than sort of knowing what Cats is and what it's going to be as well. What about you?
We'll hand it over to Jade first, because I have a little bit of a story. Jade, you obviously, having played Grisabella, you were like, no need. I've been the definitive cat. There's no need for me to see Hudson.
It's more two things. I think for a lot of people in musical theatre, the original like stage recording of Cats is really iconic. Like it's really well loved. It's not for everyone, but in like the musical theatre community, it's really well loved. So when I saw this was done, I just thought, I'm not going to tarnish my understanding of Cats by watching this. But then obviously there's also the small fact that James Corden's in the film. And as far as I was aware, like, you know, friends don't make friends watch films with James Corden in it, but here I am having watched.
Well, I am sorry
Cats
for inflicting that upon you, but
yeah.
So I have seen this film.
Appearance. Yeah, this is the second appearance as
the
well.
Second Razzie,
yeah. Like can't escape the boy at this rate, can we? Sorry, I interrupted there.
Oh, Kyle, I mean that's borderline abuse at this point.
And I should mention, that for both James Corden episodes, I brought someone along
to hate him along with you two. Yeah, great.
So my history with Cats, I've seen it, of course. So I had like I was a big fan of badges as a kid, so I had a little Cats badge. I don't think I saw the musical. My parents saw the musical at Her Majesty's Theatre in Aberdeen, and I think they just took me to some like sort of taster thing in the day. Like, I think they had the theatre open in the day and you could kind of come along and the cats were prowling around the theatre. Because I sure as hell didn't sit through singing, but I definitely remember seeing some of the cats. But I saw the movie in quite humiliating circumstances. So I was on Vancouver Island celebrating Christmas with my girlfriend's family at the time, many of whom I had not met before. And Christmas Eve rolls around. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And my girlfriend was like, oh, I'm going to take a nap. Like nothing going on in the afternoon. People are kind of off doing their own thing. And I was poorly disorganized and needed to get a Christmas present for my girlfriend's niece. And like my parents had seen Cats like a day before. I was away from home. It was like a family tradition to see a movie every Christmas Eve. And so I was like slightly homesick and was like, okay, I'll keep the tradition alive. I'll go see Cats and disappear, do some shopping and slink off. Also because there were the rumors that they were going to replace the film with like a version that had finished special effects. And so I was like, oh, I really want to see this at the worst it can possibly be. So I told her like, oh, I'll go and get the bus because like I looked it up and didn't seem too out of the way. And she was like, no, I'll drive you. And I was like, no, you really don't have to. Anyway, this ended up with my girlfriend driving me an hour there and back to go and see Cats. And I was like, do you want to come? And she's like, no, I'll just sleep in the car. And then telling everyone at Christmas dinner, Jericho went to see Cats yesterday. I drove him an hour into the middle of nowhere to see a film that he hated. And so I seemed like a weirdo.
Wow.
And she continued to tell that story to everyone about how I went on a pilgrimage. She enabled me to go on a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I just seemed like, yeah, no. So everyone was roasting marshmallows by the fire, enjoying Christmas Eve. And I just like, take me to see Cats, woman. I must see Cats.
I will say I would have rather slept in a car than watched this. So she does have one thing right. That was correct.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the relationship was imminently descending into, a breakup pretty soon after this. Did her family recommend that she leave?
I was like, listen, you're going to the Heaviside Lair. I'm going to like rubbish barge with Idris Elba. We're just heading in different directions. So heaping more embarrassment on ourselves here. We watched this one through entirely legal means because, Kyle, I am ashamed to inform you that we rented Cats not once, but twice.
$1.99.
Wow. I didn't. For the record, I didn't. Nobody. Lloyd Webber didn't see a penny from me. Yeah, I'm keeping it that way. Why twice?
Jade, do you want to tell us?
Through my own stupidity, really, and laziness. Jericho sent me a link, but I couldn't bother to work out how to get a link that was in my email onto my TV. So I ignored it and rented it anyway. And then I didn't realize that on Amazon, if you start watching it, you have to finish it within 48 hours. So by the time it came around, it was up again. And I mean, I'm not going to take the full hit on this one because I think as a group, we tried for about half an hour to get it onto the TV.
I would say more.
Before eventually my partner just going, I've had enough. I'm going to buy it again. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah, so we'll need to reimburse you, Jade, because we pride ourselves on being the cheapest podcast known to man, recording with socks and ripped up pairs of tights. And your £5 spent to rent Cats is the largest expense that this podcast has seen. So we will need to reimburse you for that. On a budget of 80 to 100 million, would both of you like to guess how much this made?
So that's going to be 80 and then 100, including the special effects redoing, I assume, right?
I assume, unless they're just giving a ballpark figure of like, it cost like...
What's 20 mil? What's 20 mil?
Exactly. What's 20 mil?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, it's going to say 60, but I'll go lower than that. I'll go 55.
Okay.
I've got absolutely no idea because I don't do this very often. So for me, it could be anything between, like 50 quid and I literally have no idea. So you're better skipping me.
It made 75.5 million.
Okay. Because I do think people went to see it like on its opening weekend.
Yeah.
I think it would have had some return, but not enough to break even. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that like sort of distance from its original budget to what I predicted transfers to the extended budget as well. So, okay, that's not a massive flop, but a failure anyway. So makes sense.
Starting off with the film, we open on London streets and there are some cats prancing around. So visually, let's just cover the cats because they're like, if the cats looked better, if they'd just done the stage show thing, this movie would be improved immeasurably.
I mean, so I can't really talk about this film like scene by scene or song by song, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a stage show, it's
a mad blur to you.
Yeah, and a cat appears, it sings about being fat, and then it goes away, and then another cat comes in, and then he's got magic, and then the next cat, it's just next song, move along to me. It is a blur, but yeah, I want to talk about we will talk about the cats, but the opening visually, I didn't mind. It looked okay. I like seeing sets. I like seeing, lighting. I like that. What's the Moulin Rouge director, Jericho? Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann. Yeah.
I like that look. I always think that's really appealing, and I think it's a nice like taking the stage to film like adaptation. I like that. And then you see the cats actually move and talk and sing, and like it's weird. Like it is really weird. So like for maybe 30 seconds I thought this isn't going to be that bad visually, because there is some competency in the sort of design and how they're going to do it. And then the actual cats themselves just fucking throws all that out the window. So yeah, like talk about the cats. Like we can't escape it. They're hideous. Beyond hideous. They're monsters. Yeah, they're disgusting. They're sickening. Like I think it looks so weird as well, because while I was watching this, I forgot it was 2019, and I was like, oh shit, this is like 2008 or something, surely. Like just by visually how unappealing they are. And I don't understand how something can have such a high budget, such a background and a history and cast and crew, and come out this weird. I don't understand.
Well, this was one of my questions that I'd written down, and I asked Jade and her partner while we were watching it. Did the studio know what they'd done? Like, did they know what they had? Were they kind of like ashamed of like, oh God, this is, or were they like, oh, this is going to be so good, can't wait for the public to see?
Well, like I don't know, like, because I was thinking, you either like going back to our first episode with Diana, like you just film the stage, and maybe do some extra like cinematography tricks and camera tricks to make it look a bit more appealing. That's simple. Or you animate it and you make like a CGI animation or like a full animation version. And a part of me thought that when I was watching this, I was like, there's no, like Judi Dench, in my opinion, or one of them will have signed up thinking this is a voice only role. And,
poor old Judi Dench, she's basically blind, and they just got her to sign. It's elder abuse. Like, they just got her to sign the line. She's like, okay, sure, where am I? What's going on?
And they start securing the beard.
Yeah,
she's thinking, what the
why do I need this if I'm just in a sound booth? I'm here for
it's a new
hours.
type of mic, Judy. It's a new type of mic. Yeah. If anyone ever wonders what the uncanny valley is, this is the perfect illustration.
Yeah.
Because it completely falls right down the middle, where it's not stylized enough and yet too stylized. Like they're just in the horrible middle ground between being not fully cat and not fully human, but just the worst parts of both.
And I think it varies between all of them as well. Like some look a lot better. Like Idris looks fine, I think.
Does he
no,
really?
Like facially, like like
yeah, facially. That's not the problem.
Yeah, like, the bodies for all of them are disgusting. Like cannot like defend the actual neck down. But I mean, like Rebel Wilson.
Yeah,
looks terrifying in the face. Like it looks like
she's possibly the worst, because she skins herself. She's the one that like.
And there's just a few other ones I was like, oh my God, like your face has just been like plastered onto a CGI model. Whereas Idris at least looked like he had like a cat face. Like maybe he looked like he was wearing something for most of the part. This is grasping at straws to compliment it, but like all of them do look fucking vile, and they cannot defend that.
Wow, tell us how you really feel.
Oh, like you should have seen it. Like I want to go back to talking about Star Trek. I don't want to be talking about cats. But yeah, like I never expected it to be so bad, because I've never seen it like actually in motion as well. I think the stage show would be pretty cool to see, like, gymnastics and sort of all the Cirque du Soleil jumping about and acrobatics. When it doesn't look real, or like real people are performing it, then I assume it is as well. I assume a lot of people here is actually involved in the stage show, or the people I don't recognize that aren't big celebrities, but they're wasted because they don't look natural in any way. But yeah,
Jade, you'll probably have more experience here. Like, do you know, was there any crossover? Like,
oh yeah, so the lead guy who plays the cat Munkerstrap, which is like the grey and black one, He's a really like quite successful Broadway performer. So as far as I'm aware, he's like a Broadway performer before he's in sort of cinema.
The two I thought were the trickster cats. I don't know their names. The ones that were like
Magical Mr. Mistopheles. Is that who you're?
No, you're talking about Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer. Yeah, I looked her up, and she is. I'm not sure about him.
They moved like they were like stage performers.
I suspect the majority of them. I'm like Victoria the White Cat. She's a ballet dancer. I can't remember who else I looked up, but there was quite a few of them. But for me, the appeal of seeing Cats live, and when I've like taken people to it in the past or told people about it in the past, you're not there for the storyline. Everyone knows there's not really a storyline. You're there for like the actual beauty of the dance, and the beauty of the music. So it's really hard. When I found out they were making a film, I was just thinking, I really don't know how this is going to work, because you can't fully animate a cat, because then you lose the dance. And that's like literally what Cats is. Like, it's a dance musical. It's huge. So you can't have just cats, if that makes sense. Like, you have to see the beauty of the dancers.
Okay.
But there was a few things that I couldn't stop looking at. And mostly for me, it's like the hands and feet. And then there was times when like they'd put their hand on and they had like acrylic fingernails, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? And in the prologue, the two cats with Converse on, and you're just thinking like, why are some of them wearing clothes and then some of them are not? I just don't get it.
The hands I was okay with, and even the nails I was like, okay, whatever, I can get that as claws. It's the feet and the shoes, and then the weird cut off on the feet. Like, I don't, again, on stage I must look so much better. I assume you guys wear socks or something, but like, yeah,
it's just like in keeping with whatever suit they've got on, they'll just have like a coloured kind of slip on that obviously doesn't resemble a cat's foot, but when they're on stage, you know it's a person. You're far enough away that you're like, it's a person with some cat ears on. Great, exactly. I'm happy. Yeah. But you can't hide it so much in a film. We're looking at them and thinking, you know, why are they wearing Converse? But the one that I said to Jericho is the absolute most harrowing and unforgivable is the mice. I just think they were just absolutely horrific, with like having a child's face with mouse ears, just horrific.
I agree with that. I didn't know mice and cockroaches were going to be singing and dancing in this. How did they do that on the stage? How did they?
Oh, there's no cockroaches in the stage. There's no mice. I don't think.
That's all. Okay.
It's just like added in bits. Yeah, there's one bit where they there's a song that's not in the film about cats and dogs, and they just keep their cat costume on, and they have like a junkyard made like dog hat that they put on. Oh, okay. So it's like it's a cat putting on a fake dog head rather than it's supposed to look like a dog. But that's the only time there's anything in it that's not a cat. So this is all just for the film.
Who thought that? Who was like, you know, this like multi-million-dollar earning Broadway sensation that's just adored by millions? You know what it really needs? Some mice and cockroaches that look like they were shot with like a PS2 iToy from like 2002. Because like the proportions are so bad. Like the like. I feel like I always use like, oh, it looked like a Snapchat filter, but this is truly horrendous. It looks like a passport booth from like 1997, like that level of effects. Just the features are stretched too much. Like it just like. I'm
sorry, but like a Snapchat filter has a nose and a mouth. These kids just have like a barrage of face paint with like it's the snout. Like everyone, you know, a mouse has like a pointy nose.
Yeah,
put a pointy nose on. Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's just it's horrendous. In terms of the visuals, I don't know how much we have left to cover there.
I only one thing I wanted to say, and this kind of comes out throughout the film, so I'm jumping about, is I hate the perspective, because I don't know how big these cats are meant to be. I assume they're
that's fucked the whole way through. I don't think anyone knows how big they're supposed to be, because one second they're the size of a milk bottle, and then they're walking through a human-sized door. It's
exactly.
Like
now, Jade, neither me nor Kyle have cats, so perhaps you can lend some more insight.
As a behaviorist, I would suggest
cats can change shape and size, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Cats are notorious shapeshifters. We know this. It's through the science. Yeah.
The one part that really, like, obviously it's bad, like, but the real part for me is when they're going on the train and they're dancing on the train track, and it zooms out, and they're about the size of like mice. They're all like dancing single file on this, and then they go into the train, and suddenly they are 6 foot, and everything's to scale for them. And I was like so warped because I assume that's quite an easy thing to like track and to keep the continuity of in the film. We're gonna know the scale of what these things are.
Yeah, like the
and it's
production
so
design
all over the
department would
place.
have like, okay, here are all our props and here's the cat's scale
Yeah.
relative to everything, so it's consistent. But no, like these
Which I
cats can
assume
be
would be on the
like,
bloody stage show. So like, why has it got lost in translation here? Like,
no,
I
they
don't
actually do a
understand
really
it.
cunning thing in the stage show where in some scenes, magical Mr. Mistopheles is played by Warwick Davis, and some scenes he's played by Steve Merchant, just to keep
Just
you
to fuck with
guessing.
me, yeah. That's a...
Before we close the book on visuals, just to initiate Jade into the world of cats' assholes. So
As if that wasn't already part of my life, but assume what you want.
So, Kyle, do you wanna tell this?
No. You've started.
Okay,
Go.
so basically, this film was released into cinemas essentially unfinished. Like the version we watched from Amazon the other day was better than what I saw in the cinema because there were just things like when they're dancing in Trafalgar Square, the cats were like 3 feet off the ground and just like shadows didn't line up with cats. James Corden kind of clips through a wall in one of the scenes, and
Wow.
people were going nuts about like Judi Dench's wedding ring being visible. And I think they said like, "Oh no, that's like a choice." And people were like, "What? It's a choice to have Judi Dench wear her actual wedding ring as a cat?"
Yeah.
And so they were still working on this film when it was released. And prior to that, there were all sorts of discussions and like tweaks to the films. And I can't remember how it leaked, but there was at one point it was revealed that they had given the cats assholes. And like they'd I think they'd sort of made the film with that in mind. And then someone was like, you can't do that. And so some VFX artists had to go and just remove all of the cats assholes.
I'm just so hoping there was some pushback from the SFX guy. Just going, no, but like you don't understand. It's just such a crucial, it's integral.
I've spent 2 months of my life rendering this cat's anus.
Yeah, and he's got this big wall of all the examples. He's like tearing down all the reference images.
14-hour shifts I spent on this, and you're just taking it away from me. Oh.
Because this film becoming a camp classic, people were obsessed with it, and there was like a movement on Twitter with people saying like, "Oh, release the butthole cut! Like, you know it's bad, just make it fully bad and give us the old version."
Well, I did hear someone, maybe probably closer to the time, with the comparisons to Rocky Horror and how it was becoming like a second screen and like a new life in a cult classic.
Yeah.
So I kind of got excited for that, that there was going to be that so bad it's good and like entertainment. But the novelty died off 20 minutes in for me. Like I was like, I once the shock of how they look, and then it's just a beat by numbers throughout the rest of it, I lost so much hope until someone popped up, and then I was like, oh, there's Ian McKellen's body wheeled out. There's, Rebel Wilson dying. Like this is all like random bits, but like it just like the novelty wears off compared to other cult classics.
So this is why I was very grateful for Jade's presence alongside me as I watched it, because my thinking when I first saw it was I watched it, I was like, yeah, once you take out that on like design level, this might be the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, and these demons are going to haunt my dreams. If you just remove that small thing, I was like, is this not just a fairly loyal adaptation of a like stage show? Like, I don't know much about musical theater, so I've got like I only really watch the films, so I'll see things like Dear Evan Hansen and Cats, and everyone will trash them, and I'll be like, is this not like identical to the stage show though? Are musical theater kids not just freaks that like this sort of weird stuff? And then when it's thrown out into the cold light of day, they're like, oh no, you don't understand, it's completely different. But I did realize that with Cats, because Jade initiated me into the world of the stage show. And they made so many fucking stupid changes where they were just like they ruined it. Like, it was almost like they were going out of their way to be like, it's like a producer's-esque thing of they took like a great show. I was like, that's just springtime for Hitler, this thing.
But that's the eternal challenge, though, isn't it? Like everyone wants to do the changes because they want to do like Grease, and adapt it and change everything so it's different and it fits the movie, and it's all the tweaks that you do from the original 73 to the movie. Like everyone wants to do that, but no one can do it right. It seems to be like a recurring thing, apart from my beloved like Cabaret. Like I assumed it was close because of the songs. And if you take the songs out of it, nothing, it's 20 minutes long. So I assumed it was close just because of the music, but I could be wrong. I don't know what's different.
There's no dialogue in the show, so any of the dialogue is added.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for me because I come from a background where it's really iconic. Like the original stage show is really iconic. So I was able to like stop it at points and show Jericho like, oh, this is what I was expecting it to be like, or this is what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall watching that viewing, because I think every time there was a new song, you'd just hear me go, oh no, or like, oh God, where they'd sort of changed to something. But I mean, the storyline is largely the same. Victoria, the white cat that gets thrown in the bag at the beginning, she's not a pivotal. I mean, it's an ensemble piece, so they're all pivotal, but she's almost like the narrator, like we see it through her eyes, don't we? And that's not the way that it's done in the class, like in the show.
Yeah.
So that's really different. And then they obviously made some choices depending on who they were casting. So the major one for me, where I actually like stopped the film and was like, I can't take it any longer, was Jason Derulo as Rum Tum Tugger, because originally the vision for him, as Jericho said it exactly right, was almost like 80s like rock and like kind of 80s pop rock David Bowie type figure, like sexy extroverted guy with like black eyeliner, and he has this big like rock and roll like fur ruff around his neck and stuff, and now they've made him this like young hip hop cat in a fur coat, which I'll never understand, because why does a cat need a fur coat? So yeah, there was a couple of ones, and like Taylor Swift, for example, when he comes in at the end, but she's in it throughout in the stage show. It's Bomb Ballerina is probably one of the 3 most pivotal females in the show, so they kind of just put her in it at the end, which was strange. And McCavity, the guy that Idris Elba plays, is spoken about a lot more than he's actually present in the stage show as well. But obviously you can't book Idris Elba and use him for 30 seconds. And you can't just use him for a one dance number, which is what happens in the show. There's like a cat fight, and he fights, I think, Monkerstrap, the like white and black cat that we talked about at the beginning. And I know that obviously they didn't have the choice to put Idris Elba in like a intense 10-minute dance battle, so yeah, they obviously changed that. But when I was watching it the first time around, though, like one of my first notes I wrote was when Idris Elba came on the screen, I just wrote Idris Elba still would. Top of the page,
even in cat form.
Absolutely. Without the coat, slightly more horrifying, but
thank you for revealing that out of your own discretion, Jade, because I was on the fence about throwing you under the bus
for saying Idris Elba.
When Kyle was like, Idris Elba's the best looking one, I was like, oh, well, there's someone else here.
Agrees on me, but well, to be fair, you're not going to say any of the other ones are good looking. I mean, you mentioned Ian McKellen a minute ago, and seeing him drink out of a saucer of water, like with his actual tongue in shot, was the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, George Galloway vibes of Ian McKellen licking milk from a saucer. That's just we don't need to see that.
No.
So Taylor Swift, should we discuss that? Because you were like confused by her at first. We're like, why has she got boobs? Like, why is Taylor Swift cat?
Why is she the only one with tits? I don't get it. Yeah.
James Corden.
No, he just is a tit. That's different. It's like 2 separate things.
The design's not entirely consistent from cat to cat, because some are slightly more human than others. Some rip their skin off.
Yeah, I was gonna say some have got 2 skins.
So okay, let's just try and race through this. So let's speak about the cast. So we have Victoria, the main cat. Jade, you said she's like a ballerina, and that kind of showed. Like she maybe we'll spiral off into this bigger discussion of the film. Is in the things you showed me and what you said. This is like a dance musical, and Tom Hooper came in and went, none of that. We're going to rein the dancing right into the smallest amount possible. And wherever there is dancing, it will be shot in the most boring fashion possible. Like, there's going to be no spectacle here, no like wide shots or anything. I don't want people seeing all of the cats at the same time. This is all going to be in close-ups. And often when cats are dancing, when we just cut to like a close-up of Ian McKellen looking or whatever, we just don't want, like, if we can just have as little energy as possible. So Victoria is one of the main ones who dances because they clearly went for like celebrity stunt casting as opposed to
because that's the only thing I thought I could talk about is the cast, other than the weirdness. Whoever her name is, I don't know. Whoever lead white cat is.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I haven't looked at it.
I don't have name. I'm not doing.
She'll probably thank us for that. She doesn't want her name associated with this.
But she's one of the few that I'm going to give a pass mark to because I thought she was like a dancer. I was like, you're actually moving. You don't look like you're in a rubber CGI weird body. You look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's a physical performance, which no one else. That's what I was going to say.
Even her expressions, like, because no one's getting directed in this. No one's doing anything. Everyone's just having fun. So I thought, okay, she's a pass mark, lead cat. I was like, you're fine.
I said that as well. I said you can tell, even if this is not someone's dream credit or the Victoria, the white cat that you dreamed of being, you can tell she's really talented. Even when she sings that fucking awful song that Taylor Swift wrote that made me want to scratch my eyeballs out. You can tell she's really talented. It's just an unfortunate production.
To go back to what we said about the Hillary Clinton person using it as a show reel, I wonder if she spoke to the producers and was like, is there any way we can get the raw footage of this? Just where like it's me dancing around in a green leotard and no one has to see all of the other stuff. Just so I can shop it around and show people. Show them finished film, Victoria. Show them. No, maybe not. Maybe not. So Victoria is the main cat, and she's the attempt to give a kind of like protagonist audience surrogate in a musical which doesn't have one, because we should probably address that this is a film based on a musical based on a poem, because T.S. Eliot wrote like, I can't remember, Old Possum's Book of Peculiar Cats or something. And it basically just was like, oh, like what if a cat like rode a train? Wow, wouldn't that be marvelous? What if a cat was a magician? What if this cat sold NFTs? And so the rest of them are just kind of like gimmick cats. And so the concept of the film, which we should probably...
How dare you, gimmick cats? They are well-rounded cats with thoughts and feelings and dreams.
Rich inner lives.
I'm really upset that you would say that.
This cat does magic. This cat is the sexy cat.
This cat wants to fuck the other cat. Yeah.
We should also say the conceit of the film is the Jellicle choice. They're all these are all Jellicle cats. We don't know what a Jellicle I'm gonna be on tender.
A Jellicle cat is a cat that follows Judi Dench, right? Like her gang cat.
They don't really explain it. They like.
Okay.
I'm sure
there's a whole song about what a Jellicle cat is, and they still don't really answer the question. So.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I felt so embarrassed yesterday because I was like, what's a Jellicle cat? And Jade was like, weren't you listening, Jericho? You've just had it sung at you for the past.
You've been watching it for 3 hours, they've explained.
It explains what they are, but not why they are, or what they do, rather. But yeah, I thought it was like a tribe. It was a blur to me, but I was like, this is Judi Dench's gang.
Because she knights Victoria at the end. She's like, arise, you are now a Jellicle cat. And I was like, has she to do something? Is this like a spiritual journey to become a Jellicle cat? But anyway, the Jellicle cats will be making the Jellicle choice at the Jellicle ball. When one of them will send the Jellicle hot air balloon to the Jellicle heaviside lair.
Jellicle hot air balloon. That's amazing.
So the conceit of the film is they all turn up and do their little song and dance about why it should be them. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think the kind of idea behind it is if you are finished, because obviously cats have 9 lives. So if for any reason you're like unhappy with your life, or you're finished with your life, or you think that you're meant to have something else, you can then be like moved on to your next life. So it's not as if they're like volunteering to go up for some like suicide mission. It's just it's like some magical journey they go on to be reborn as like a younger cat, or
Hang
I
on,
don't
is
know.
Jellicle a synonym for jihadist now? Is that what we're going to be saying?
Exactly.
The Jellicle cats are waging their Jellicle holy war, and yeah, so basically they all turn up, and like Victoria just stumbles into town and is like, "Oh, hello!" They're all having this Jellicle thing, and so the ones we meet, Rebel Wilson is a spoiled indoor cat. That's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to attempt her name. She's Jenny Any Dots. Is that
Correct.
Her? Thank you.
Yeah.
And so she rips her skin off, and then no sooner has she ripped her skin off than she is kidnapped by Idris Elba, who's like will-o'-the-wisp kind of smoke cat who just kind of steals her, takes her away. And then I think we get Bustopher Jones, the James Corden cat.
No, there's someone in between.
Is there?
There is someone in between.
Yeah, after Jenny Annie Dots, you got Rum Tum Tugger.
Is he in between? Okay.
Yeah.
They space out Rebel and Corden.
Okay. Yeah.
There is some planning going on here. We can't have the audience walk out after 25 minutes.
Yeah. They're like must stay for Jason Derulo. Yeah.
He's a buffer. That's what he is.
So he does his sexy little Jason Derulo dance and sprays all the cats in milk. And then that's kind of it. Paul asked if Jason Derulo was going to Jason Derulo. And I can't imagine the levels of restraint. Like they must have done so many takes in the vocal booth, and he just kept ruining it by like, Jason, stop! You're not playing Jason Derulo. If you have to do something, do Rom Tum Tugger. If anything, if you have to say a name, say your cat's name.
Someone's probably made like an audio clip of that somewhere. I'm 100% sure
that will exist. Yeah, and so then we get our beloved Bustopher Jones, who he wants to go to the Heaviside lair in order to reborn again, because he's like, I'm fat, so I want to restart my life and then get fat all over again.
Yeah, same. That's what I want to go to.
I feel like this is like a good like commentary. This is like a good class commentary. James Corden is the billionaire cat who's like, I want to go to the bottom of the ocean to discover the Titanic.
Jericho, that's too soon. You can't bring it up. That's people are grieving. It's disgusting conduct.
Listen, if I can parlay their misery into tickets to Cats the Musical, that kid seeing Blink 182, I'm just struggling to cope with my grief here that we might be 4 billionaires less. But he just strikes me as like, that's just like a like that's an Elon Musk thing of like, oh, I want to be like reincarnated so I can start again. And like, I want to travel back in time so I can reinvent epic dank memes and reinstitute apartheid in South Africa. So James Corden is just like a bastard cat. And he gets kidnapped by Idris Elba, who like, because they don't kidnap Jason Derulo, does he?
No, just a select few. It's not, again, that's not something that happens. The only thing that happens in the stage musical is he takes Deuteronomy, which is Judi Dench's character,
which makes sense,
given that like she's the most important one. But I don't really understand the whole sticking on the barge. I assume it's just because they wanted the Ray Winston cameo, which they tied in this way. But
so let's cover him. We get Ray Winston cat. He doesn't sing, does he? He's just going, right, you cats.
No, it's a song in the show. It's a character called Growl Tiger, so they haven't made up a character, but I guess they just wanted him in it, so they were like, this will work.
He is the one day shooting cameo that I wanted to see, though. You know, I'm going to come in, I've got 15 minutes, slap the makeup on me, put the cat anus on me, and I'm ready to fucking go.
I've just remembered something. He does he does the scary cat claws with human hands. Which made me piss myself laughing. He goes, like, it's a human hand with no claws in it. I'm like, did they tell you they were going to Photoshop that in? They're going to tell you you're going to have like massive claws.
No one told him to do it though. He just thought, I'm going to do it. What are you going to do?
So for overseas listeners, Ray Winston round about this time was also famous for a betting company advert in the UK where he's just a head that screams at you. So Ray Winston has previous with just turning up and being like this weird, bizarre thing and clearly just placing all of his trust in the hands of the CG effects artists. So like Idris Elba, if he'd only captured Old Deuteronomy, that would have had way more impact if it was just like a whoa shit. Like, but instead he's kind of like
as what I would have thought that like Idris kidnaps Judy, and then this gang of cats we've been introduced to have to go on a mission together, and we're gonna.
Are you making the cats into the Expendables, Kyle?
Basically, yes, of course I am all the time. And we've got Stallone cat,
And
we've
yeah,
got
Sylvester
Arnie cat.
Stallone plays a cat.
You know, he's named Sylvester, for God's sake. He's born to be a cat. I thought that's what was going to happen, but like you said, 45 minutes to an hour is just introducing and then disappearing. Like no one does anything really, because it is a song, like you were saying. It's meant to be driven by music. So when you are trying to put that into some sort of story or some sort of like act structure, that's not going to happen. Same. I want to loop around before we get too far away, because James Corden infuriated me, because a lot of this is phoned in. Like you say, Jason Derulo he's playing himself. He's here, he's barely doing anything. Some people do try, some people, Ian McKellen's there for whatever reason, but I hate how smug Corden is in this. Like, he is so
he's always, it's not just in this, though. That's why he's so insufferable.
But like, this is like peak, because he wasn't this bad in Emoji Movie. I know that's animated, but like, he is so insufferable. He is so smug. He thinks he is legitimately the king cat, or whatever the cat's called, the fat cat. I hate him so much. And I was so happy that he was in it and out of it so quickly. Because when I was saying that there's going to be this team up of cats that go on an adventure, I dreaded I was going to see like Rebel Wilson and James Corden and Jason Derulo like talking for 45 minutes. He is the worst of the bunch, though. So yeah, I just don't want to let Corden get away scot-free here, because he's fucking awful.
Well, I have a line from Jade which made me laugh, because as soon as he appeared, Jade just said, "This is also the worst song in the musical," which lends itself to him.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh no, actually, I probably shouldn't say he looks like my cousin on." Well, my cousin's not going to be listening to this. So whatever.
Nobody is. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, Jade, well, have you got a picture of him? We'll put him up on social media, tag him, side by side.
Stop.
Yeah. So we've outed you as wanting to fuck Idris Elba cat. We have got you uninvited from the next family reunion, but we'll just endeavor to not to embarrass you any further on this podcast. So after Corden, who's it we get? We get Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. Are they next?
I think that's when you meet. Oh yeah, Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. I was just going to check there, which was a really was a real shame for me, because this is the song where you get on stage, you get the most like tumbling and gymnastics.
Oh, okay.
So it's amazing. And also I was explaining to Jericho that they wrote like an original version of the song. I'm not sure what happened, but I can only assume that people were like, "This is crap, you need to rewrite it." It got rewritten, and the rewritten version is 1,000,000 times better. And then for this film, they went, "Well, why don't we just go with the original shit version? That makes way more sense." So yeah, there's like a way better version of the song. And if they'd have just included the really iconic like tumbling, there's a thing where they do a double cartwheel. So they kind of hitch onto each other's hips and then do like a double cartwheel across the stage, which is massively iconic. And whoever produced this was like, "Nah, we're gonna leave all of that out, cut all of that."
Cats are famous for not being very agile creatures, so it's just a little bit unrealistic if you have them kind of moving around with just grace and around, performing. Yeah. What if they just walked slowly? All just arthritic cats.
Yeah.
Because like there are like moments when there are a couple moments where cats are attached to wires and just like zoom flying off into the sky. It's like, why is this the one moment that you've decided to, I don't know, spread your wings? Okay, so we've got them. They also don't get kidnapped by Idris Elba, because Idris Elba only kind of kidnaps the names. People are like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great to see Rebel Wilson and James Corden just riffing together? Aren't these two beloved actors? What if they got to just like be in the commentary box, just kind of like, cracking wise with each other?" After that, do we get This is where we get the introduction of, I've forgotten, Jennifer Hudson, Jade Cat, isn't it?
I thought we had Old Deuteronomy first.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
No, it's actually not on the cast recording, so I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was around, it was one, they're like one or the other. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's not on the cast recording for some reason. So yeah, Jennifer Hudson and Judi Dench in pretty quick succession.
Yeah. And so my hearing isn't great, and I was perhaps tuning out, and I also just do not understand metaphor. So I needed like flashing lights. So like when I first saw this, I did not get what Jennifer Hudson's cat's deal was. I was just like, she's an abused cat, like her owner hit her or something.
I think you said she's a bag lady cat.
Yeah, I said she was a bag lady cat. I was like, she's suffering from trauma because she had a bad owner who abused her. Now she's just out on the streets, kind of pining for what once was.
Yeah. Some exiled cat. I didn't get it either. I don't understand this. But yeah, I thought she was exiled. I don't know though. But bag lady cat's best. I like that.
So I mean, they literally introduce her as Grisabella the glamour cat, so I don't really know where you guys were, but yeah, essentially it's not kind of actually said what her background was, but she was some sort of like glamorous star who fell from grace, basically.
Yeah.
And when we've like discussed it in the past, it was maybe like, oh, maybe she'd kind of started seeing gentlemen, tomcats for spare change and stuff, and that's potentially why they didn't like her. Or maybe her sort of glamorous past meant that she was sort of like arrogant and thought she was better than the rest of the cats, but now she's had this fall from grace and they all hate her, basically. But originally she was played by Elaine Page, and she comes on like quite haggard, not old but not young, just this like ratty cat that's fallen out of a bin. And then when they revived it on the West End, this must have been maybe 2014, 15, something like that, they had Nicole Scherzinger play her. And obviously they're not going to put Nicole Scherzinger in like some raggedy old, just fallen out of a bin outfit. So they made her much more of like that kind of disgraced, the only way I can put it is like escort. Like she was much more, I don't want to say sexy because obviously that's beside the point, but like the glamour element was played on a lot more than previously. So I think with Jennifer Hudson, they kind of have gone a bit halfway with casting somebody that's fairly, like still fairly young, like very attractive. It's not like you looked at her and thought, oh, she's like some like raggedy old one-eyed cat.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not, I thought that their kind of design for her was really underwhelming, because to look at her, there was no story there. She just looked like a cat that had a bit of a torn outfit on.
100%.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like objected to this film the first time I saw it, was because I was like, spoilers, she wins the contest and gets sent off. So I was like, hang on, wait, the cat that's clearly like the trauma cat, like the cat that's clearly been through some shit, wins the thing and her prize is getting euthanized. Like, it's like that's the only way to heal from trauma, is to just be like sent off into the clouds.
That's the moral of the story. Yeah.
Just we smother this cat because it's like, well, bad stuff happened to you, but congratulations. Count backwards from 10 and off you go.
Yeah.
We should cover this now. Her song. This is one of those songs where even when I wasn't jiving with it first time round, like that scene was great. Because it's almost like Anne Hathaway doing like I Dreamed a Dream in Les Mis. It's like, oh, the movie almost just grinds to a halt where we get like clearly like a fantastic song sung by like some amazing, like I thought there was like nothing worked in the film, but Jennifer Hudson manages to salvage it for like the 3 minutes that she's singing that song. I was like, I'm on board with this.
I agree. She gets a tick mark from me. She passed everything. Like, what song was it called again?
Called Memory.
Memory. Yeah, because that's a big famous song, right?
Yeah.
That's the only one. It's the only one I recognize as well, and that sort of like, when Lloyd Webber songs like seep in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, or if it's Phantom, like something seeps into you. So
I can tell you're a fan.
Yeah, or whatever they're called.
That
you
song,
know the ones.
Jesus Christ, that famous song, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, to
you
wear
know-
a technicolored raincoat over here.
Yeah, exactly. Love, love never dies. I've seen that.
There
so
he
I can
goes.
Yeah, there we
Now I'm
go.
kicking with gas.
Oh, we're getting into Cal territory with sequels now.
Sequels.
This is the
Only
end.
one. But yeah, that was really cool, and it is a good performance. And I assume it's something she could have released as well. Like you could have done if you're doing
I expect so, yeah.
the OST or whatever, the cast recording, you'd stick that out as a single. B-side with Taylor Swift, boom, some money. Like,
well, yeah, it's funny you should say B-side with Taylor Swift, because they immediately follow this up with this like amazing song, and then they're like, what if we put a Taylor Swift original right in immediately afterwards? Not even a moment to breathe. We'll just have an atrocious Taylor Swift original composition, Beautiful Ghosts, because we want to win an Oscar, don't we, guys? We want to be the Oscar-winning Cats. And so all these adaptations of Broadway musicals are always like, okay, yeah, great songbook that everyone loves, plus some random shit tacked on.
We all skip
the credits,
yeah.
Or the credits, you stick on your original song at the credits so you can get around it, But they wanted that Oscar or Razzie because now they're eligible for worst song. Yeah, fair play.
Because the lyrics to Beautiful Ghosts even reference memory, like it like lyrically, it's kind of like attached to the song, so like it could not be more tacked on if it tried. And I don't know about you two, but I just really did not care for it.
I hate it. I thought it was dog shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know it wasn't an original song because I don't know anything. Like, it's complete innocence, but it does suck. And there is I guess there's a certain obviousness in hindsight that it's not Lloyd Webber or Tim Rice or whoever writes the lyrics and composes. Yeah. Taylor's better than she was in Valentine's Day though, so she's improving.
Well, we'll touch upon her in a moment because we do have Old Deuteronomy next, don't we? So Old Deuteronomy turns up and they have gender swapped Old Deuteronomy, which, Jade, do you think it works?
No, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because in this show, and again, like I'm boring myself getting in the show, it's like this. But when you know that something is done really well one way, it's like, why have you bothered to change that? I understand that they wanted a good actress, someone who felt really familiar, because Deuteronomy is like the parent of all the cats, like, so I get that. And I think from that perspective, it really works, but it completely just pushes the vocal element out of the window. Deuteronomy is sung with this like stunning, rich baritone. Like some of the most beautiful songs in the show are sung by this guy with this really deep, velvety voice. And then at the end of the film, you've got Judi Dench doing spoken word. And I'm just like pulling my hair out thinking, oh my God, please, like, why have you done this? I'm so offended.
And we have James Corden on hand. So, this could have been solved easily. Judy, get fucked. We have someone better with these rich, velvety baritone voice. Perfect. My remake.
Insufferable. Yeah, never let you make a film, yeah. But yeah, so it's not a personal thing. Like, I mean, you can't criticize Judi Dench as a performer. Like, there's absolutely no point in having that discussion.
National Treasure, Jade. Bring the knife out. Theme, I don't think she earned it.
Yeah, so but it's more just from the perspective of like it compromised on so much having done that for me, that it just was not acceptable. I'm going to go out and say not acceptable for me.
Yeah, getting Super Nanny vibes. Not acceptable to be recast. Yeah, because this is another thing where like I was just like I'd written off completely, whereas like that ending number with like a cat is not a dog, whatever. I was like, this is just fundamentally flawed. There is no way you can make this work. And Jade played me a 10-second clip of some guy singing. I was like, yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked. So then we have, is this Choo Choo Machugger, the railway cat? Is this him?
The what? Say it again. Try again.
Skimble Shanks.
Skimble Shanks, yeah.
Skimble Shanks, okay. Is this him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So his gimmick is he likes trains. The autism cat.
No, he doesn't like trains. He's
Conductor,
the
right?
railway cat.
Yeah.
I think the whole point is like I think probably you wouldn't have so much now, but like back in the day, you'd have like an old dusty tomcat like at the railway where you'd buy exactly. So that's like what he's supposed to be, but for some reason they made him this like, I don't know, it was horrible. It was awful.
He's I could be wrong, but he's a performer of some type though. The guy.
I expect so. Yeah, I mean his physique pretty much gave that away. I would have said.
Exactly. He was moving again. It's that jump between the corpse of Ian McKellen and like James Corden towards like actual people flying about and moving. Yeah, I don't get this though. I don't understand this guy. I don't relate to Autism Cat at all, I'm afraid.
I just could not get behind the fact he was the only one wearing trousers.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have time to edit the anus out. Maybe that's the issue. They just went, stick these on.
The director stood over the shoulder being, come on, it needs to go to the press. Like, I'm working as fast as I can, Paul. I'm working as fast as I can. Just put some pants on him and send him out.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've missed out Ian McKellen, but we've kind of discussed him. He's just like old cat.
He's arthritis. What's his name? Yeah.
Gus the theatre cat.
Yeah. So yeah, he's old. and then do we get, is this Magical Mr. Mistopheles or Taylor Swift? It's one of them, isn't it?
It's Taylor Swift, because then McCavity takes Deuteronomy and then Mistopheles brings her back.
So Taylor Swift turns up and you think she's better than Valentine's Day. I think she kind of works in that she's just like Idris Elba's sidekick. So she's just kind of like glamorous, a little bit razzle dazzle.
It's more confident. Like she's more, secure in her own skin compared to Valentine's Day, where she looks like a fish, like a deer in the headlights or something back then.
Because she's just
Taylor Swift and all. Really,
she's just singing. She's just doing a Taylor Swift concert, but as a furry. So she's like strutting around. The only thing I can really criticize her performance for is the English accent.
Yeah.
Because she does that.
I'm not saying this is her fucking. She didn't get a tick.
Not there.
But I mean, it's fine. It's
fine.
It's fine. It's not like what is distracting as I kind of expected it to be. It wasn't like a Corden moment where my heart sunk and like I was ready to fucking end myself. It was fine. Like, it's over. She's in it. She's gone. Quick payday.
You giving her pass marks?
Me?
I am.
Kyle. Oh yeah. Well, you as well if you want.
But... It's a half a pass mark.
C-.
Yeah. I would agree. Like she can pass, but she's not getting any sort of special honors.
Yeah. That's it. Exactly.
Okay, and then we get Magical Mr. Mistopheles, because as Jade said, old Deuteronomy kidnapped, because Idris Elba's like, oh, if I can't kidnap the cat that makes the Jellicle choice, and I just feel like I feel like one of my relatives talking to me about Pokemon cards or something, where they're just like, oh, so like this is a Pokemon, and just like Jellicle, I don't know. Okay, so Idris attempts to obstruct the Jellicle choice by kidnapping old Deuteronomy, and Magical Mr. Mistopheles, say that 10 times fast, is the magic cat who brings her back. And I think again, Jade was like, oh, this is like a sort of like big finale, like impressive thing in the stage show. And
it's like the one of the few dance solo pieces.
Yeah.
So they'll save like their strongest male dancer for Mistopheles, basically.
Okay.
And he'll do things like pyrotechnics out of his paws and stuff like that. So like in a classy way, I'm not saying he's got like Catherine wheels, but like he does like, like the magicians like bang and stuff like that. And so, it again fell really flat for me, sadly, which again is a shame because I think the performer was really good.
I
don't think it's a criticism of his performance. I think the direction and choreography and just the choices were shite.
I think that he was probably on a green screen acting his little cat heart out, and Tom Hooper was like, and trust me, MMM, it's going to be amazing. We're going to put in like sparkles and pyrotechnics. You're going to make an elephant appear. You're going to do all this stuff. We're going to make it look amazing on green screen. And then they ran out of time because they were individually painting out cat assholes. I'm like, okay, no magic. And
exactly. Nailed it. Oh, and Tom Hooper sat at home thinking, how the fuck does he know this? Secrets.
So that brings us to an end.
Yeah,
That's the
that's it.
Well, you've forgotten the bit that, memory is sung a second time, which is the iconic version of it, and Grisabella goes up to the heavy side layer.
Yeah.
Which in this was a hot air balloon, which why not? Everything else has just been mental, so let's just do that now.
Yeah. So Mr. Mistopheles brings old Shooter on me back, and they decide collectively that they're going to euthanize Jennifer Hudson. And so she wins, off she goes. And then we get like a sort of like ending Trafalgar Square thing with Judi Dench does her number. And then you said there's a romantic subplot between magical Mr. Mistopheles and
Victoria the white cat.
Yeah,
they're just kind of like fondling each other all the way through the film, and you think they're off to fuck. The second this song is over, he's not being castrated, they are off to find an alleyway somewhere. Yeah.
So before we move on to our discussion of this vis-a-vis the Razzies, I want to give the final word to a quote that Jade said, which do you want to say it if I tell you you've never known fear?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just that you've never known fear when you're in an amateur theatre production of Cats, being Grisabella going up to the heavy side layer, and they put you on a homemade like hydraulic system where you stand on it and it just goes upwards above the ground. There's nothing to hold on to. You're literally just stood in the middle of this like circle on one hydraulic, and then you're 6 feet above the ground, and then a ladder comes down from the rig and they're shining a light directly into your eyes, so you can't see where you're going, and the ladder's wobbling, and you just have to kind of walk up and wave and walk into the bright light. So I mean, there's possibly times when I could have actually been dying and not known any difference. Whether they had insurance, I won't know. To be fair, I'm actually glad it just wasn't a hot air balloon, because that probably would have gone sideways very quickly.
Yeah. Very quickly.
So are we all in agreement that this is Razzie worthy? Like, this is terrible.
Yeah. Like, there's nothing. I always kind of defend films, I feel like, when I'm like, oh, what makes a Razzie? This is a perfect example of a Razzie film. This is awful. It might be fun. Maybe because I watched it alone as well, doesn't help.
Yeah.
Because it's a miserable, and I don't know anything, and it's just being thrown into. It's like you say, watching Pokemon and not knowing anything and just whatever. There's nothing to compliment, nothing apart from the original songs to an extent that they've butchered and done terrible versions of. I have nothing nice to say. It's 100% a Razzie film.
I mean, the only thing I would say is I don't let this tarnish Cats for you. This film was shit, but Cats as a whole is not shit. And if you get the chance to see it live, just go in expecting the very, very, very little storyline, but that the talent will be astounding and you will love it. Yeah. But would not watch the film again, would not rent again on Amazon. I've taken enough money off of me. Not for a third time. I'm never a third time.
Show me once. Show me.
If nothing else, Jade, you've convinced me that Cats the Stage Show has merit, so I might go and see it and then get thrown out when I scream, "Where are their assholes? Where are their assholes?
Where's James Corden?
I demand James Corden." So this was nominated for a number of Razzies. So it won Worst Picture, of course. It also won Worst Director, Tom Hooper.
Oh, that's just savage, isn't it?
He's got,
but well deserved. Well deserved.
100%.
So it was like, this is like really poorly directed, particularly when you consider that he was working with quite good material. And when Kyle mentioned Baz Luhrmann, the guy, I was getting Baz Luhrmann confused with Rob Marshall, who did like Chicago and Mary Poppins Returns and all those big things. When you consider like any number of those people who kind of deal more with like musicals, probably could have made this decent. Yeah, well earned by old Tom. Worst Actress nominee Francesca Hayward Katz as Victoria. So Mr. Razzie can fuck right off.
No, that's so harsh. No, disagree. Hard disagree.
Yep. Exact same.
No.
If she was my first thing I was complimenting. Like, she's one of the few pass marks here.
And her life might be in absolute disarray now, but at least she can listen to this podcast and hear that the three of us have not written her off.
Yeah.
And that means she's eligible to come on the podcast as well. So, come on.
So,
and
Francesca, how's your career been going since?
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
Um,
Don't talk about cats.
Then we have worst supporting actor. It will bring you no small amount of surprise to learn that James Corden won for Bustopher Jones.
Well deserved.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Greatly deserved.
Yeah.
And he was the only one in the category. Moving
Yeah.
on to worst supporting actress. Sorry, do you have something to say?
No, I just said that he would, if there was other ones as well, he outshines everybody how bad he is.
Absolutely.
So, there's not even
Truly.
anybody else coming close to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Moving on to worst supporting actress, we have nominee Judi Dench, Old Deuteronomy.
Oh, that's a bit awkward, isn't it?
I'm gonna say no. She's not great, but like she's not.
The miscasting, like Tom has to take that one, but she is bad. Like
Yes.
It's elder abuse. Like she's just Judi Dench there in a fur coat, and like.
But it's not got like Rebel Wilson spreading her cat legs. Bad,
like scratching her cat vagina.
Yes,
It's just horrific, isn't it?
At one point you asked, like, is she taking a piss?
Yeah, at one point I'm pretty sure she takes a piss in the sink. I was like, this is just foul. Like, even cats don't do this. And they're actual cats.
Well, you will be very pleased to learn that worst supporting actress, in fact, went to Rebel Wilson Cats as
Excellent.
Any Dots. Then worst screen combo, we have Jason Derulo and his CGI neutered bulge Cats.
What?
I think this is another change they made, is they took his dick away. Because I think he had too much of a prominent...
It's too distracting.
Yeah, and so they were like, let's just smooth him off. Let's Ken doll him up. Sand that off nice and
Rebel
smooth.
Wilson does a line about him being neutered. And that's how he hits the notes.
She does.
Right?
She does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the winner for worst screen combo is any two half feline, half human hairballs, which it's just Mr. Razzie and his bullshit of like, this is the worst articulated version you can think of doing that gag of cats is a bit weird, isn't it? Cats and the lack of assholes.
Absolutely.
The asshole-less
That's
cats.
the worst. Yeah, exactly.
The cats and their missing assholes. If you're going to do his lame joke, then why not do my lame joke instead? So it then also won worst screenplay, Lee Hall and Tom Hooper, based on the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which was based on Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Why?
Because like they ruin it, but they don't really, like the screenplay, do they really change that much? Like they add in an original Taylor Swift song and then they're like,
and they just add dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. They just
that's still that's still enough. That's still a piss poor adaptation to do.
But to be the nominee for sure, I just don't know if it's.
It depends what it's up against.
Okay, well we'll deal with that in part 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on to part 2 and the other contenders, we just have our usual thing to discuss, the smallest change you could make to this film to make the biggest difference. So take your pick.
Different director, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you call that small, but...
I mean, I still say just film the bloody stage show and...
Literally.
Just give it a Martin Scorsese Last Waltz sort of filming around it, a little bit of razzmatazz, and I'm okay with that. The smallest change is probably just not the CGI and let them wear the cat outfits. Yeah, that's it. I would make it go a long way if they just wore the outfits from the stage show. But no other difference. I'd be so much more forgiving.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have anything to say because that was my one. If you just don't do the horrible CGI, if you ditch the cockroaches and the mice and you just do it practically, then that goes a long way towards making this less horrifying. But as Jade said, like a different director and someone whose immediate impulse isn't going to be to neuter the musical and to just take out all the spectacle and be like, okay. So that concludes all we have to say in part 1. So we're gonna now send you off to the Heaviside lair, Jade. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
My
and
pleasure.
making this podcast much more listenable than it would have been if it was just me and Kyle being like, so do you reckon the musical's like this? I don't know, man. Do you reckon the musical's like this?
Have you seen any Simpsons episodes about this?
Yeah, so thank you. Pleasure having you.
Thank you for having the expert touch. Is very helpful.
No worries.
So before you go, do you want to plug anything on our podcast or listenership of two people? Want to shout out your cousin? Like, I know he's a big fan.
Do I want to plug anything? No, not really. Unless you need a dog behaviorist, in which point chuck them an email and they'll give you mine. I'm not going to bother plugging.
You don't want our deviants like hitting you up, being like, "Oh, hey, so do you work with cats?" Because
yeah. Well, to be fair, if anyone has any feline behavior problems, I can help. So why not?
Is your cat kidnapping other cats in an attempt to sneak into the Heaviside lair? Then why not give Jade Nicholas a call?
Has your cat started singing Jason Derulo around the house? Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
Welcome back to part 2 of Watching Worst Films, where we cover the other winners and nominees for the year of 2019. So we had a little bit of context. This was the Corona ceremony. Okay. So I was in lockdown. Again, this was sort of as my mental health began to spiral, and I decided to watch all of these nominees. However, I don't know if I've watched this one. I think I have, but like I haven't logged it on Letterboxd. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe I didn't watch this one. Rambo: Last Blood.
You have seen Last Blood, right?
I don't know. I might be getting confused with Rambo.
Right. No. Okay. Right. So I took my girlfriend Sophie to see this.
Lucky girl.
Yeah, she's a very lucky girl. She never ran away yet. But I was so excited for Last Blood. I thought it'd be the full circle. We're going back to First Blood. We're gonna maybe do a little twist on it. Maybe have a mirror of First Blood. It is not that. It is somewhere in between a generic cartel film, Rambo 4, and The Expendables, or some of the later day sort of Stallones. I don't like it. It's my least favorite Rambo film. I covered that on First Blood Part 2. I don't hate it. If I remove myself from Rambo and start my love,
is that possible?
It's hard. It's fine until he gets like the bow and arrow out, and then I can't. Like once he, because he's not Rambo in it. Like, he's not John Rambo. He's Sylvester Stallone. It's not a fine Stallone performance. But anyway, the film isn't that bad. I really like the ending and sort of when he lures him back and he's got all these traps in his house with all these tunnels, like Vietnam tunnels.
I haven't seen this film.
It's good fun. And then he rides away on his horse, and he's done. There's some fun stuff in it. It's my biggest problem with it is the script. And like, it's not a Rambo film. And anyone that's seen the first 4 instantly go, why has he got like a sister and a niece, and why has he got like a house near Mexico? Like what this is my John Rambo is like floating in the Philippines, or he's off in the mountains in Tibet or something. He's not fucking about in a ranch. Like
he's not a Clint Eastwood character.
He's not. It does feel like a Clint Eastwood film. It feels like The Mule or something.
Or Cry Macho,
a million different ones. It's just been rewritten. So on one hand, it ain't great, but on the other hand, it isn't that bad. It is nowhere near Cats. I would watch Last Blood 1,000 times over than watch Cats. Yeah. So this is Mr. Razzie just reading his hatred, because it isn't good, but it is not. It's still better. It's better than like The Expendables 3 and some of the more recent stuff anyway. So like,
Last Blood, man. He has to get his last chance. See, like, this is his last chance to face off against his adversary. John Rambo.
But it is good when he is just whooping ass, and when he goes down to Mexico and just fucking starts ripping through them. I like that. That's the Rambo 4 love that shining through. Yeah. But everything else in the film is stupid and is really anticlimactic, and it's a terrible way to end the series. Like, I kind of hoped, like I love Rocky 6 and how it ties up Rocky, but you can still go do Creed and you can still go on and do. I want a Creed for the Rambo verse. Like, I want something.
Kate McKinnon.
I want him to be. Pardon?
Kate McKinnon as Christine Rambo, Rambo's niece.
Yeah, some just get like I would like to see that mentor sort of Rambo.
Ruby Rose as
Go get
Rambo's.
out. Fucking James Corden, get him in. I would, because that's why I imagine Last Blood would be is Rambo being the Colonel Troutman role
Yeah,
and
the
having
elder
to go in.
statesman, Logan
Yes,
for
yeah,
Rambo.
yes,
Yeah.
but doesn't happen. So yeah, it's not great, but it's nowhere near Cats.
Few things
So
are. Few things are.
yeah.
We then have a Medea family funeral, which I watched, was my only Medea movie. It has since left my memory completely. I just remember at one point there's like someone spraying hand sanitizer, an extra spraying hand sanitizer quite prominently in the background. And so when I watched that in the early days of lockdown, I was like, this movie is about the coronavirus, COVID 2019 pandemic. This is Tyler Perry knew something.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing to say. It's a Medea film. We've seen Medea films before and since. I have no doubt we will see some more in the future.
We can't escape. We're not going to escape them.
We then have The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Have you seen that?
Oh no, that's not Lohan. That's
Hilary Duff.
That's the one. I was saying that's the one that's not Lindsay Lohan. That's how I'm trying to remember it. The one that's not Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, I heard about this and almost was gonna watch it because of like the negative reception it was taking.
Yeah.
And obviously it's it's a story that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a self-confessed Manson enthusiast, or
I'm a member of the Manson family. Say.
However to word it, I think it's fascinating.
Whatever the name for Charles Manson stan is, Kyle is one.
But I just didn't go see this. I guess because it's the pandemic time as well, and I already have my fill with.
Sophie, listen, put on your mask. We're gonna go see The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
Carve your swastika on your forehead. It's time to go see Sharon Tate played by Hilary Duff. Yeah, so like no, it's I totally didn't see it. I don't even know if is Manson actually in it. You've seen it.
So it's basically my working theory was that this film was commissioned by Quentin Tarantino because this is the year Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out. And I know people were like worried about that potentially being insensitive. So my theory is that Tarantino funded The Haunting of Sharon Tate as like listen, here's the worst case scenario, and no matter what, people will watch my film and be like, well, compared to that, Quentin's was incredibly tasteful. So he's in it, but it's more about like ghosts. They just make it like a supernatural kind of boogin thing. So like Manson's in it, but they don't get like the Mindhunter, like they don't get the Mindhunter Manson guy who just like there is a Manson, but I don't remember him that well. Moving on, we then have another film near and dear to both of our hearts, The Fanatic.
Oh, The Fanatic. Oh, when did you watch The Fanatic? 2019 or recently?
No. So I watched all of these because Isaiah, friend of the show, Isaiah, who was on the Postman episode, and Kelly, friend of the show, Kelly, we were part of a Razzies pool, which I was like, okay, I like to watch all the Best Picture winners. For the first time, I'm going to watch all of the Razzie nominees, apart from Rambo Last Blood for reasons unknown. And so I watched The Fanatic for this. I might have watched it even before this, but anyway, like I was going through, like we'd had Gotti, I was on a Travolta kick, and so The Fanatic, what if Travis Bickle was further on the autism spectrum, I guess?
Yeah, further. So I seen this closer to release. I forgot it did have a theatrical release, didn't it?
I was out of the country, so I don't know if it did here.
No, not here. No, I'm assuming America.
Worldwide, yeah. It had an American release for sure.
Okay, that's because it just got dumped here. I had to download it. I watched this without knowing anything really beforehand because of Fred Durst.
Yeah,
my boy from Limp Bizkit. He wanted to keep rolling, and he goes into movies, and just the premise and the Travolta. But
do you reckon he shoots on film just so he can say keep rolling?
He's a connoisseur. He knows he's going to do things my way.
Yeah.
All the other fucking puns I can think of. Anyway, yeah, like I was mesmerized by The Fanatic. I do think it's not the worst film. Other if you took Travolta out of it, Travolta is what makes it the most memorizing and unique film. It's a lot for me is in Travolta.
Travolta kicks it to another level, but it's dreadful. Like
It is, but no,
every
it's not bad. I'm not saying it's good, right? But
yeah.
like I'm talking in terms of like surreal, weird, I once in a lifetime movie compared to just some other shit I can find on demand. Like Fred Durst could do a million movies and he could make like a million Rob Zombie fit flicks or whatever, but you'll never be able to capture the magic that was on film in The Fanatic through Travolta's performance ever again.
I'm
It's
not so I do agree
is
it was certainly lightning strikes, like lightning in a bottle, but I do think that like Michael Shannon as Moose Dunbar would have like, if any, like, because does
it
Moose
would
Dunbar not
never have
shit
the,
himself or something?
yeah,
Like
he's got.
anyone with that haircut directed to be like Rain Man meets Travis Bickle, I
But
think.
Travolta wanted to do that. He came up with it. Like he's an integral part of the role. The character's creation is down to Travolta.
Okay, okay.
I would have thought the Fanatic might have won. I forgot it was out this year. Arguably, it's it's is. I mean, you're comparing shit to shit, but like,
Yeah.
it's a worse film than Cats by a mile. I would have thought that would have probably won. But anyway, yeah. What's your thoughts on the Fanatic?
Yeah, like I hate it. It's just like it's entertainingly bad. So like just how Scorsese, I was always like a Taxi Driver fan rather than a Goodfellas fan.
Mhm.
With I was always a Fanatic fan rather than a Gotti fan.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like you can keep your crime epic, give me the character study of like the
Mhm.
dangerous loner. So it's like it's great to watch just because like it is like what the fuck from moment to
Mhm.
moment. It's an
Mhm.
entertaining bad movie, perhaps.
Mhm.
I think we've alluded to maybe we'll cover it as a special, but
Oh
I
God.
enjoy watching The Fanatic. So it's like a good bad movie
I
because
I had so much more fun watching The Fanatic than Cats.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I like objectively, it's a worse movie, but
yeah.
subjectively, just for, I think my jaw actually was open. I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. Whereas Cats is just mortifying at the start. Once you're used to it, the novelty wears off. It
Yeah.
never wears off in The Fanatic. You're never quite prepared for what's coming next.
Yeah. And so then, of course, the winner Cats. Moving on to worst director, we have Neil Marshall for Hellboy. Did you see the Hellboy
Oh,
remake?
I didn't go see the reboot. No, that's boy from Stranger Things. What's his name?
David Harbour.
That's the one.
Yeah.
No, it didn't do very well. In fact, I think we were going to see it, but it like dropped out too quickly.
Yeah.
It looked really generic.
Yeah.
Nothing for me.
I saw it. The main issue for me is just comparison to Guillermo del Toro. Like that's the main thing to beat it with, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So like, I don't think it's badly directed. You're right, it's just super generic. It's kind of like how the Transformers films have gone since losing Michael Bay. Of you're losing
Mm-hmm.
someone with a really unique visual style and you're not doing a big enough departure. So yeah, I don't think Neil Marshall is worthy of nomination. But
Yeah,
yeah. Then we have Adrian Grunberg, Rambo Last Blood.
it's what I've covered in when I was speaking about it before. It is competent. He's not a visionary. He's a director for hire.
Yeah.
100%. He has just been brought on to get this thing made. So it's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah. We then have an interesting nom, James Franco for Zeroville.
Oh, okay. It's first time in a while for Franco, if ever, is it?
Yeah, certainly for direction.
I've not seen Zeroville. Have you?
I have seen Zeroville.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because it's one of James Franco's like literary adaptations of like the man just loves like directing like Cormac McCarthy, like like
Mm-hmm.
William Faulkner, like novels. And so like Zeroville's another like apparently like great novel that he just completely mangles. It's not a good movie. It has like a very good cast because he was also coming off The Disaster Artist and also he's
Okay,
friends
okay.
with
Yeah. He's still on his peak
this is
is,
the dying of the light.
isn't it
He's
really?
Seth Rogen's still
Yeah.
speaking to him at this point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, James Franco probably well deserved for Zeroville, to be honest with you. We then have Fred Durst for The Fanatic.
Yeah. That's what I've said, 100%.
Yeah, the man's not a filmmaker, and there are
No,
so
he's not.
many like things like where like so who is the oh no, I'm getting confused. It's not Moose Dunbar. It's not Hunter Dunbar. Hunter Dunbar is the guy, and Moose is Travolta.
Moose
So
is Travolta, yeah.
yeah, the guy he's stalking is Hunter Dunbar, and he breaks into his apartment and
Hmm.
he's going around looking at all his stuff, and he's won loads of awards, and they just say on them like Hunter Dunbar. Like it's like the production department just knocked them up in 30 seconds where they didn't even bother to make up like the fake name of an award.
Hmm.
They were just like, his name, Hunter Dunbar. The Hunter Dunbar Award for services to Hunter Dunbar goes to Hunter Dunbar. And
Yeah.
there's just touches like this. Or like when Moose is looking at the Maps the Stars Home apps, and it just has like loads of like little Psycho and like I don't know, like American Psycho Fight Club in jokes. It's just
Hmm.
cringe. It's just like a
Hmm.
fanboy. It's like a 15-year-old making a film, and Fred Durst is
100%.
not a 15-year-old, so it's just real embarrassing.
Hmm.
Worst actor: Sylvester Stallone, Rambo: Last Blood as John J. Rambo.
Like I say, not a good one at all. Not going to die on the Last Blood Hill, but it's not the worst.
Yeah.
He does get into it, but he is scowly old Stallone. Way he's not John Rambo. Like that's other people's problems. That's not his problem.
Yeah. Then we have Matthew McConaughey in Serenity as Baker Dill. So we're not going to say too much because we do need to cover Serenity. Serenity is fantastic. And Matthew McConaughey is just kind of like, Matthew McConaughey is not the issue with Serenity.
Okay.
So I don't think that's deserved.
Okay. That's
then
fair.
We have David Harbour, Hellboy as Hellboy Anung Un Rama.
Well done.
I haven't seen Stranger Things, or I've seen the first season. I don't care for Stranger Things, so I don't really know much about David Harbour, but he's not a bad Hellboy. He's just no Ron Perlman.
No, yeah, he's good in other things. I remember one off the top of my head. I like him. I think he looked, even in the trailer, he looked fine. He
Yeah.
looked okay doing the quips and things. I don't know. I don't think he's the problem, and I don't think Perlman not being there is the problem. I think it's just the genetic not having Del Toro there's the problem.
We then have James Franco in Zeroville as Vicar. So yeah, no, James Franco's performance is not good, and just kind of like quite a vain actor director. Like he probably shouldn't have cast himself, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then the winner, John Travolta, the Fanatic, and Trading Paint as Moose and Sam Monroe.
He deserves it for Fanatic alone. I don't know what was the other one.
Trading Paint.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no, John Landis does not seem to be involved. So Michael Madsen is, though.
Oh, now you've got my attention.
Moose is just such a bad performance that he would be a worthy winner.
Yeah, that's
any year.
That's fine.
It's what, like an old timer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then worst actress, we have Rebel Wilson for The Hustle as Penny Rust. Not seen that.
Not seen the Hustle. Sorry.
Tyler Perry and Medea Family Funeral as Mabel Medea Simmons.
As always, when he pops up as Medea, like in worst actress, it's the same comment we do every year when he's here.
Yeah. Francesca Hayward, obviously discussed for Cats. Anne Hathaway, The Hustle, and Serenity as Josephine Chesterfield and Karen Zariakis. So I like her in Serenity. I like Anne Hathaway as an actor. I don't think this is deserved, but I've not seen The Hustle. And the winner, Hilary Duff, The Haunting of Sharon Tate as Sharon Tate. Completely well deserved, particularly when you have Margot Robbie delivering like an excellent performance, and then you have Hilary Duff doing the Scream Queen, like, oh my god,
yeah, fair.
Moving on to worst supporting actor, we have our old friend Bruce Willis, Glass as David Dunn, the Overseer.
So I didn't see Glass. I think we covered that when we last talked about Shyamalan. I think Split is the last I've seen. So you've seen Glass though. How is he?
He's fine. He's fine. Like it's not like there are some where you can kind of tell that Bruno sees the film with contempt, but he obviously like chose to be here, and so like I think he must have something of a relationship with M. Night. So like he's not like it's not a bad Bruno performance by any means.
Yeah.
We then have Seth Rogen in Zeroville as Viking Man. I think that's just a cameo, essentially. Like, I think he's just
Sounds
stuffing.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Particularly at this point in time when Seth Rogen was like in Steve Jobs and stuff and kind of proving himself
Yeah.
as dramatic actor. We then have Tyler Perry, A Medea Family Funeral as Uncle Heathrow, and Tyler
Yep.
Perry, A Medea Family Funeral as Joe. So these are two separate nominations.
I was just the way to
He's
say,
not
is that,
done
yeah.
Slash.
Okay. No. So in the same movie by the same actor,
Yeah.
but two different award nominations.
Yeah.
Okay. So he could have won it and lost it. Like,
To
if
himself.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
to himself. Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Honestly,
Stupid.
more power to you, Mr. Razzie. I'll speak for both of us when I say that we can respect that not done your homework the last minute and just like padding it, being like, I'll get away with this. I just cannot think of another male supporting actor performance. So Tyler Perry twice.
Fair.
And then, of course, James Corden is the winner. Moving on, worst supporting actress, Vanessa Pineda, Rambo Last Blood as Giselle.
Okay. Who is she again? That's not the main lady. I can't remember. I pass. I can't remember Giselle is off the top of my head. The main lady I remember though, but not her.
Judi Dench, Katz as Old Deuteronomy. Discussed that. Cassie Davis, A Medea Family Funeral as Aunt Bam. Almost no one in Medea Family Funeral stands out. So, like, I have no memory of any of them. They're all just doing what they need to do.
Yes.
Jessica Chastain for Dark Phoenix as Fuck.
I didn't see Dark Phoenix. Did you?
I did, of course.
Of course you did.
I like Jessica Chastain a great deal, but Dark Phoenix is dreadful, and Dark Phoenix makes X-Men Apocalypse look like X-Men First Class, I think.
Oh, okay.
And she's not good. So yeah, probably well deserved. And then of course Rebel Wilson, Katz as Jenny Anydots. So moving on to worst screen combo, John Travolta and any screenplay he accepts.
That's almost funny. Like, actually, like, genuinely, I would have accepted John Travolta and his agent. But yeah, that's okay. You got a semi-smile out of me there. That's possible.
I agree. Yeah. That's one of his better ones. Just to bring us back down, Sylvester Stallone and his impotent rage, Rambo Last Blood.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. It's Mr. Razzie and his impotent rage at Stallone. So
exactly. Impotent. Yeah. Have you seen how much he blows up, Mr. Razzie? Does that look like a man with virility issues? Does that look like a man compensating for something? We then have Tyler Perry and Tyler Perry, or Tyler Perry, A Medea Family Funeral.
Okay, fair.
And then the two Cats noms. So we are burning through this.
Burning through this one, wow.
On to worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, A Medea Family Funeral. What more do we have to say? Hellboy. We've kind of covered that, like it's ripping off Del Toro. That's kind of the issue there. Godzilla King of the Monsters. Did you see that?
Oh, which one's that? Who's in that one?
That's 2. So like
no, that's not the one after Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then no, I didn't. I got burned on the first one. Yeah. And I was like, where's bloody Matthew Broderick running around? This is not my Godzilla.
It's a disappointment, but I don't think it's terrible.
Well, it's not popped up at all until now, so
yeah. So yeah, then we have Dark Phoenix. Probably, well deserved, just like the X-Men franchise completely on its last legs. It just seems like everyone, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, are out of contract, and then they somehow get them back, getting the old team back together.
Just when I thought they were out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the winner, Rambo Last Blood, which, without having seen it, seems incredibly undeserved.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's a poor sequel to them, like,
it's
in
not,
that regard, because it's not really a Rambo film, but in other ways, hell no. Like, rip-off, remake, is this not like fucking Medea should have won that, or like Cats, I guess, it's a remake of Cats.
Yeah.
Like, there must have been more. Like, Dark Phoenix is probably worse, I assume. So yeah, like, no, I think this is harsh. This is just giving more dunking on Stallone. Yeah. Never ends, even in 2019. Even after his redemption, it still goes on.
We then have worst screenplay. So, Rambo Last Blood, Matthew Karilnik and Sylvester Stallone, based on the character created by David Morrell.
Yeah, nothing to say. It's a poor screenplay.
Yeah.
But that's just because I assume the first name wrote it, and Stallone came and changed it into a Rambo film. And then they filmed it. Like, it's whatever.
We then have a Medea family funeral, Tyler Perry. Nothing more to say there, really. Standard Medea film. Hellboy, Andrew Crosby, based on the Dark Horse Comics character by Mike Mignola. I don't think it's a dreadful screenplay. If it had just been directed by Del Toro and starring Perlman, I think we wouldn't even be discussing this.
Fair.
Then we have The Haunting of Sharon Tate, Daniel Farrands. Terrible screenplay, terrible idea. And then the winner is Cats, of course, which means no nod for The Fanatic. So that's my winner.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was well written. Like, it was perfect screenplay. It was Durst and, Travolta that ruined it. Yeah, no, 100%. Fanatic's the worst.
Yeah.
Fanatic is the worst.
And that brings us on to the Razzie Redeemer Award, which it feels like we haven't discussed in forever.
Yeah.
So, first up, we have Will Smith for Aladdin. And
that's a joke, right?
No, that's right.
No, okay, shit. I thought you were joking there.
No. Will Smith would win it like a couple years later for King Richard. So clearly he was just desperate to give it to Will for some reason.
Yeah.
Because Aladdin fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And he's not
Will
good
Smith
in it.
Fucking sucks in it.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that is strange.
We then have Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems. So Adam Sandler doesn't win. This is the most Razzie Redeemer, the most perfect, given that I don't think you will ever find two bigger gulfs in performance between what he does in Uncut Gems and what he does in almost everything else.
Yeah.
So good that I was like, you know what, Adam? You can phone it in for the next 20 years of your career and I'll be first in line to buy a ticket. Because Uncut Gems, you worked so hard and did so well to just capture that buzz of anxiety.
I'm in 100% agreement, and I'm going to be shocked what wins above him. And that jump from Will Smith sucking ass in Aladdin to Adam Sandler giving his best performance ever. Yeah, okay, I'm ready. Continue on.
So next up, we have Keanu Reeves for John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and Toy Story 4.
Okay, you've seen them both, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Wick 3 is my least favorite John Wick. I like 4, I like 2, I like 1. I do like John Wick's.
Yeah.
I was maybe a bit burned out by 3. I like Toy Story 4 as well. I like his character, the stuntman, Buckaroo or whatever he's called.
The Canadian stuntman, yeah.
Buckaroo. Yeah, I don't think this is a redeemer in any way. They're just fine performances from someone that's been doing fine performances for a long time at this point. So,
well,
what
exactly.
Are we redeeming here? John Wick 2?
Exactly. What fucking rock you been under, Mr. Razzie? I know we've kind of spoken about, I think you've been better at working at Mr. Razzie's thinking of these are all people who've been doesn't matter how good you are until you if you've been nominated for a Razzie until you receive Mr. Razzie's sign off, you're still just in Razzie purgatory. It's like being I don't know, pardoned by the Pope or something.
Yeah.
Because Keanu Reeves had been publicly adored for probably almost a decade at this point in time.
Yeah.
With the John Wicks and
coming out again as well. He's on the peak of his life, but he hasn't done a Sandler streak, or a bloody Will Smith streak even at this point. That's just lazy again. It's just a lazy one.
Then we have Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers. So I don't know if this is her being redeemed for Gigli, but she's good in Hustlers. I don't recognition of the performance is good, but I don't know. I don't watch her that much, so maybe it's but she's really good in Hustlers. And then the winner, Eddie Murphy, Dolomite Is My Name.
Okay, so Adam Sandler's been robbed.
Yeah.
Because his is a serious, genuine performance where he's acting his little heart out.
God bless him.
On the other hand, though, I do love Dolomite Is My Name. It was really nice to see Eddie Murphy just giving a shit.
Yeah.
In general, and being in something good. And I really, really like Dolomite Is My Name. If Uncut Gems didn't exist and Sandler didn't do this, I wouldn't be complaining in any way.
Yeah. If you strike Sandman from the list, then Dolomite Is My Name is fine. It's good for a reminder of what he can do. It's just a good oh, you know what? There's life in the old dog yet.
But you
it's the issue that
you can't strike away though. That's my issue. You can't.
Yeah.
If you strike away every footballer on the planet. I'm the best footballer, but I'm not. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. Is like Uncut Gems is like a almost like genuine masterpiece of like that's just like a great transcendent film without the context of Eddie Murphy's being shit. Like if you put Uncut Gems in all the films Adam Sandler's done, it's up there with like Punch Drunk Love. Whereas you put Dolomite in Eddie Murphy's filmography, it's just kind of like there. It's not like the top echelon.
I agree.
So yeah, that's kind of my issue where Mr. Razzie done goofed. Then we have the final award, Worst Reckless Disregard for Human Life and Public Property.
Oh,
so
that's a strange one.
Make of that what you will. It comes up now and again, always with a seemingly different definition. So the nominees try and work out what this is. Joker, Hellboy, The Haunting of Sharon Tate, Dragged Across Concrete, and the winner is Rambo Last Blood.
So just violent films? I assume that's what he's going for? I mean, public property? I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Surely like Dark Phoenix is the most reckless, you know, like I'm thinking of Man of Steel,
Godzilla, King of the Monsters will surely destroy more public property than Joker smashing up a few mailboxes and some incels tipping over a taxi.
Yep.
And like The Haunting of Sharon Tate, it's predominantly just like her legacy of like I don't know, like, but anyway, my old acting teacher was in Dragged Across Concrete, so that's her. We'll get her on the podcast. So yeah, that kind of brings us to an end.
Once again, it's just this like damp squid, isn't it? The fucking just peters out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a strange character. I hate when he does that. Give me worst original song. I could have been listening to Taylor. I could have been listening to whatever fucking shite Stallone put at the end of Rambo 5. I had loads of fun. Frank Stallone could have been here. Gutted.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we will be journeying off further into the past next week when we will be returning to you with 2008's The Love Guru.
The Love Guru. Very excited for this one. Gonna have a little special guest on it as well.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun. My girlfriend Sophie will be joining us. She can't wait. She loves Myers.
Is that not going to be revealing all your tricks, Kyle? How you seduced her with the age of the Love Guru? Like, oh, hang on, that on me.
This is the film that taught me how to ensnare her and land her. So we'll see.
So join us next week for that. In the meantime, you can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst Films, and you can email us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. So if you have any comments or queries about this week or any others, then get in touch with all your bad movie takes. We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear them. Thank you very much, guys.
Now we'll just, Oh, well, there never was a man, cats and them and then magical Mr.
Cats in the cradle and a
Mistopheles.
silver spoon.